Hi, this is a demonstration of the Urban Forest Metrics software system. It's designed for arborists and tree care firms to do field work for their clients, to keep track of trees, to act as a long-term medical record system for trees, to do analyses like tree risk assessments and appraisals, to do mapping, and with other versions of our software to do some enterprise stuff like financials, scheduling, things of that sort. But today, with this version, we're going to show you the field interface of how people use this in the field to keep track of trees, make recommendations, do reports, proposals, maps, things of that sort. So here we have our main tree screen. This is typically used on an iPad. Tablets are pretty handy to have out in the field. It'll run on Macs and PCs, but people will out running around generally use a tablet. And if they're running around their client's trees, they'd probably click on this button here. We call it our nearest tree button, because the tablet knows where you are with a GPS, and the database has all of the lats and longs of the tree, so it'll just pull up the right record. You walk to the next tree, you click this button, it pulls up that tree. Very simple, very quick. If we were creating a new tree, we would just press the plus button here, probably put in a species and a DBH, and maybe some other factors. Maybe take a picture down here by just touching this. If I were using an iPad, I just touch that with my finger, and the camera would come up. I press the shutter button, and it would stick a picture right there. And you'll notice down on the left-hand side we have a visits box. This shows us that with this new tree, the first and only visit is today, September 14th. I'm going to go back to that other tree. And it shows that we had a visit on September 7th. And here's a picture and some information that was recorded then. I can go ahead and press the plus button and create a new visit for today. And this is how we get a longitudinal history of the tree over time. And you'll notice that there are these checkboxes here. This indicates that back on the 7th, we put in information about the trunk, about a conflict, and a risk assessment. So if I click on this, I'm on today's visit. If I click on this, I'm on that visit. And I can just jump in. I'll just jump into that risk assessment, and we can see, okay, here's the risk assessment. We can jump right into that information. So it's a very quick and easy way of looking at, in one glance, the history of that tree. And we'll show you some of these features as we go along. So with this new visit, I'm going to click on the new visit. I might want to enter in information about a part of the tree. And keep in mind that you never have to enter in all the information about the tree here. We might put in a DBH because it changed, because we haven't been here for a couple years. We might enter in some information about the trunk and say we're finding some information. Looks like we have sooty mold on it. And we come back here and you'll notice that there's an X under trunk, and there's also a corresponding X under that visit. So this can be very fast. Typically people, when they're doing an inventory, will enter in 5 or 10 pieces of information, and when they're later going in, they're just jumping right into a particular thing, and they're just clicking away, and then they're going on their merry way. Those first 4 tabs are parts of the tree, and then we get to the risk assessment, which we saw briefly before. Here we have the track system. It's the most common risk assessment method nowadays. And the ISA gave us permission to use all of their fields. To our knowledge, we're the only software that actually has all of the full ISA track system in here. And it ultimately gets to this tab here, the risk conditions. And we can go ahead and create a new risk condition. And we'll make it a low one. There, it calculates it for you as low. And we can even map these risk conditions. In fact, we can map anything in here. I'll jump over to the map section. And you'll see that the map right now, what do we have here? We have risk rating and tree number. So it's colored by risk rating and labeled by tree number. But we can color and label it by anything to compare any 2 variables. So for instance, we can say, let's color it by, say, diameter class, and label it by, well, let's label it by diameter so we know exactly what diameter it is. So you can see how you can compare any 2 variables here, which is very handy for walking among trees and coming up with theories as to what's going on with the urban forest. But if we were to take a map and show it to a client, we'd probably export this first. I'm going to go ahead and export it. And when I do export it, I might include some information like show me the critical root zone. And I'll go ahead and export that, and it's going to save a KML file. KML is an open format that lots of programs can read. And my favorite happens to be Google Earth. So I'm going to pull that up here, and I'm going to take that KML file that was just loaded onto my desktop. I'm just going to drag it onto Google Earth, and it's going to zoom into these trees. And I can zoom in, and I think I had the critical root zone checked, so that's what we're looking at here for these particular trees. And here's where we would create maps. We could also load it into ArcGIS and create a layer out of it. This is very handy, and it's very handy for clients. Clients may want to take that KML file and put it up on Google Maps in a public place where, say, their homeowners association or the university can make their constituents make this data available to their constituents. So that's mapping, and I'm going to come back here and finish out these tabs. We had been talking about risk assessments, but we also have plant healthcare, IPM. We can do treatments of certain chemicals and automatically do application rates in gallons and do quantities, and when I click on that, it'll allow me to adjust my inventory. This can also do chemical reporting for your state. You just one button, it'll take all of your treatments for that year and pull it all up and do it in the right format and send it to your state. We have conflict analysis, where we can put in not just that there is a conflict, but how far away is it. That's very handy for later years doing reports to see if any of the previously noted conflicts may become a problem as trees grow. And then we have assessments, appraisals, where we can figure out what the value of a tree is, and we can automate this for you to a degree. Your ISA region will have data on what the location rating, species rating, replacement DBH is for your particular region, and we can have that automatically, parts of that entered in based on what species you're selecting here. And then it's a very quick way to do an appraisal. And that, of course, can be mapped as well. You can show a map of a client's trees and their relative values. Very handy. And then finally, I want to show you a bit on reports. So if we can pretty much customize reports to any report that you like. We can use your branding. There isn't a report that you have that we can't replicate here fairly perfectly. Here we have some one-touch reports where I can just go ahead and click on this button and it will create a report. It's right now generating a PDF, and here it is. I'll go drag it over here. Here's that PDF for this set of trees, and you can see it can take pictures. Here we have assessment information down below, pictures, and basic tree information. There are any number of reports that that you can do, and we can also do Excel reports so that you can manipulate things yourself. We can have these PDF reports automatically put in an email and sent to a colleague or to a client. There's really a very little limitation on what we can do with reports, which is kind of fun. And we also, as a report, can do a proposal. And you'll notice that this box here has recommended tasks. We can go ahead and add something. Just going to pick something at random. And we can put in more information. We can put in pictures and comments. Of course, with the iPad, instead of typing, I would probably just be using voice notes. I would speak into the iPad and it would transcribe my voice into this text. And then you can see this new thing here, and we can go and create a proposal. Here we have a proposal report, and we'll go ahead and save that, and maybe even put it into an email if we wish that, so that we can save it, send it to the client. So that was the quick version of the Urban Forest Metrics field interface. We have lots more to show. Lots more to show how we can customize it to you. Lots of different versions we can show. We have turf services interfaces in addition to plant interfaces, in addition to tree interfaces. And we have an enterprise version that includes all of the financial information, billing, invoicing, customer relationship management, inventory control, and lots of other things. So feel free to see more information on our website, www.forestmetrics.com, and metrics is spelled METRIX. And we hope to hear from you.